Hi friends. So the season finale prestigious ATP Tour Finals was over yesterday night, and it was Yannick Sinner, the 2024 champion, who managed successfully to defend his title yesterday, and he won against his greatest rival, his biggest nemesis, the world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz, 7-6, 7-5. And the significance of this win is that he has won it once again without losing a single match or a single set. He has established a record of 2 editions of tournaments where he has gone unbeaten. Last year also he was unbeaten, this year also he has gone unbeaten. He has won 20 consecutive sets without dropping a single set. So he has not dropped a set a single time this year, nor he had dropped a set last year. And to put it in perspective, the significance of this spectacular achievement, let's remember one thing. This ATP Tour Finals, the most prestigious event, fought among the 8 top players of the world in terms of ranking. From 1987 to 2023, it has never happened that a winner in a year has gone without losing a set. But here we have Yannick Sinner, forget losing a match, he has not even lost a single set in the last 2 years. So things which had never happened between 87 to 2023, Sinner showed it and made it happen between 2024 and 25 twice. So what a great level of consistency and what a great level of spectacular performance he has given on the hard court of Turin in the indoor circuit. And let's put in perspective also his awesome record in indoor circuit. He has now gone 31 matches unbeaten in indoor circuit, and he's just a little behind Ivan Lendl, who has a record of 32, and Novak Djokovic, who has a record of 35, and that great man John McEnroe, whose all-time record of 47 unbeaten matches in indoor courts between 1978 to 1987, over a period of 9 years where he went unbeaten, that lie ahead of Sinner. It looks Sinner can easily go past Lendl and Djokovic. Maybe going past McEnroe would be a big challenge, because 9 years unbeaten run, 47 matches unbeaten run is not something which you can expect even from great players in current generation. But who knows, the way Sinner has been going in the indoor circuit, he can achieve it, you never know. But that has been the significance of his achievement, his win, if you want to really put it in perspective on a micro level. What a fabulous performance he has shown. Let's not forget, Yannick Sinner has also created history by becoming only the third man after Federer and Djokovic in reaching all the Grand Slam finals as well as the ATP Tour Finals in a single year. And this he achieved in 2025, in spite of the fact that Alcaraz deservingly ended the year as the world number 1, and he was his greatest rival, and he had a fabulous record against him in terms of head-to-head classes overall as well as in 2025. Now coming to talk about the rivalry, Alcaraz has had an overwhelmingly dominant record against Sinner in terms of head-to-head rivalry. He had a 10-5 win-loss record till yesterday, and yesterday's win puts Sinner's record a little better now at 6-10. It is still a hugely skewed head-to-head record. Sinner would like to bridge the gap to make it really look like an iconic rivalry. So the gap is still there, but at least he has bridged it a little bit. Now talking about 2025, it has not been much different. Alcaraz has had an overwhelming dominance over Sinner in terms of head-to-head classes. He was coming into yesterday's match with 4 wins out of the 5 times they fought in 2025. It started so aptly in Italy and ended so aptly in Italy also. It was such an irony, but when it started in May, when Sinner was coming a little rusty after serving 3 months dope ban, they both played the Italian Open final, and when Alcaraz won it, it looked that Sinner had done great to reach the final after not touching the racket in a competitive circuit for 3 months. So maybe he was on the verge of having a control over Alcaraz. But then in the French Open final, Sinner reached almost so close to achieving the first clay court title of his life, and he had championship points. But Alcaraz showed that perhaps he had not only superiority in terms of tennis but also might be in terms of mental toughness, because he managed to grab victory from the jaws of defeat, and he landed the second loss on Sinner within a span of a month after winning the Italian Open, then that French Open final on clay. And it looked the mental scar of losing a tough five-setter, that too after having championship points, would be actually having a great impact on Sinner, and maybe Sinner would get mentally scarred and would not be able to recover from there in 2025, or at least against Alcaraz. But then Sinner showed what nerve of steel he has, because within a couple of weeks he composed himself. He managed to forget that nightmare of French Open final. He brought in more determination and addressed all his weaknesses, and came into the Wimbledon with renewed vigor and determination, and he reached the final, and he found again his nemesis Alcaraz there. But this time he turned the tables. He exhibited great tennis, spectacular tennis, to beat Alcaraz convincingly and achieved his first Wimbledon grass court title, the prestigious second Grand Slam of the year, because he had already won the Australian Open in the beginning of the year. And by that he ensured that the head-to-head classes in 2025 played 2-1 in favor of Alcaraz, not 3-0. But then after a few weeks they both clashed in the Cincinnati Open, and Alcaraz was all over him, though he was carrying a serious injury and he had to retire at 5-0, but Alcaraz looked really intimidating. So that made it 3-1 in favor of Alcaraz, and within weeks they both reached the US Open final. But by that time Alcaraz has turned into a different beast altogether. His service was invincible, he was untouchable, and he really blew away Sinner, even though Sinner managed to win a set, and it looked a little closer than what it should have been by becoming a four-setter. But the fact remains that Alcaraz was comprehensively having a dominance over Sinner in that final, and he won it to grab the world number one title, achieve his first US Open title, and made the rivalry a little one-sided by winning 4 out of 5 times in the finals against Sinner itself in 2025, and their overall record reached 10-5 in favor of Alcaraz. So with that background, when both the players played the ATP Tour Finals, which is the most prestigious event fought by the top 80 players in the world at the end of the season, and it is the most prestigious event outside the Grand Slam, it looked there was so much more at stake, because for Alcaraz a world number one title was at stake, though he needed only to win 3 matches or reach the final to achieve it, which looked much more easier to achieve than for Sinner, because Sinner was a defending champion. So it was very tough for him to accumulate points, even if he was going on to win it. So he needed Alcaraz to really mess up to actually grab the world number one, and Alcaraz didn't do that. Alcaraz went unbeaten, true to his form and true to his great performances in 2025. He was consistent, he went unbeaten, he won all his matches in the round robin, he reached the semi-final, he blew away Azar Aliassime to reach the final, and with that he had already achieved the season-ending world number one title assured for himself. So Sinner had only one thing to play for, to show that he could defend the prestigious event, win one more great title, and also give a warning or give a message to Alcaraz that he was beatable and Sinner was the only guy who could beat him. So that was his target, and he also went unbeaten. He also showed that maybe Alcaraz had a advantage over him, but the rest of the world was nowhere close to him. So he was invincible. He reached the semi-final. He beat Deminaur convincingly, and especially the second set was fabulous and he was spectacular. And then, as it turned out, both the players reached the final, coming into the final with great confidence and being unbeaten. And for the final time, the fans were treated to a sin-crush duel. It was the 6th time they were clashing, and people were waiting to see whether Sinner would be able to bridge the gap or Alcaraz would really seize the opportunity and celebrate the world number one ranking by making a loud and clear statement that Sinner was nowhere close to him. But as it turned out, Alcaraz was spectacular, true to his flair and true to his form. But Sinner also showed why he is such a great player, why he is considered as the next Djokovic in terms of his consistency and solidity. He was solid, he was flawless, he was consistent, he was trying to hang in with Alcaraz when Alcaraz was playing great, and at the same time he was trying to wait for the big moments. He could not get Alcaraz broken in the first set, but he ensured he was not broken. So he took the game set to the tie break where he seized the opportunity. He was always ahead and he ultimately won it 7-4. And then in the second set he was broken in the very first game, and it looked once again a familiar tale would be followed and Alcaraz would make a come from behind win and would deliver a mental scar. But this time Sinner was not ready. He ensured, he fought back, and he actually broke back Alcaraz very soon. And then at the right moment at 6-5, when the championship was at stake, he broke Alcaraz and then won the title 7-6, 7-5. With that, he breached the gap between the two overall to 6-10 in terms of win and losses. And also for the 2025, the statistics looked a little better because he has now won 2 times and lost 4 times, though it is still overwhelmingly in favor of Alcaraz, but at least he has breached that gap and he has ended the year with a very, very big and moral boosting victory against Alcaraz to give a statement that 2026 he would be coming even more aggressively at Alcaraz, and hopefully he would crack a code to know how to beat Alcaraz consistently. And if you do that, he would win the Grand Slams, there is no doubt about it, and then he will be able to also reclaim the world number one, which was for him for the most part of 2025. Now both the players have had a fabulous 2025. Alcaraz overall tally reads 67 wins and only 9 losses, which is almost as good as Nadal's that great year when he had won 70 matches and also won the French Open as well as the US Open. So now this year has gone almost like a Nadal kind of a year for Alcaraz. Now on the other side, Sinner have had a fabulous year. Sinner won 2 Grand Slams to match the 2 Grand Slams that Alcaraz won. On the top of that, he won the season-ending finale event, the most prestigious ATP Tour event outside the Grand Slams. He also became the only man other than Federer and Djokovic to reach all the Grand Slam finals and the ATP Tour finals in the single year, and he did it in 2025 to be in the august company of the 2 great legends of tennis, that is Federer and Djokovic. Alcaraz, on the other hand, also became the 3rd player after Federer and Djokovic to reach finals in 11 tournaments in the entire year, and that is only he's become the 3rd player to do it. So you can guess what a fabulous 2025 he had, and he deservingly ended the 2025 as the world number one. And by the way, season for Sinner is over. He will be going back, take some rest to come back in 2026 January with renewed vigor to challenge to defend his Australian Open and to start a new year challenging Alcaraz for the world number one title. But Alcaraz season is still not over. As a professional tennis singles player, it's over, but he is going to play the Davis Cup, which Sinner is not going to play because he has already contributed with 2 Davis Cup titles back for Italy. But Alcaraz has that dream of achieving that Davis Cup victory for Spain, so he will be playing the Davis Cup, and if he wins the Davis Cup, then it would be his 9th title or 9th trophy overall for the season. So what a fabulous season Alcaraz had, what a fabulous season Sinner had, and we have been lucky and privileged to see that iconic rivalry, though it has still not reached that level of closeness which you would expect between the 2 greatest players of the contemporary tennis in terms of their head-to-head classes, but in terms of their achievement and trophies and titles they have shown. 2 Grand Slams to Alcaraz, 2 Grand Slams and the ATP Tour final event to Sinner, and now a fabulous year has ended with 6 times they fighting it out in the big tournaments that included 3 Grand Slams and 1 ATP Tour final event. So out of the 6 finals they fought, 4 have been in the biggest of the tennis tournament. So we have been lucky to witness some great tennis from both the players, and we are also assured that this will continue in the next year and for many years to come. So let's wait and watch what happens in 2026. Who would fire the first salva and who would be having the last laugh. Till then, we have to wait and watch. Thank you.